who lost virginity before marriage versus who lost virginity after marriage. So how their mentality will be. I just want to make sure that every audience will understand this.
A woman can lose virginity for various reasons.
True.
Now she could be a sportswoman,
True.
so they'll end up losing virginity not because of sex itself. Virginity is also lost when they're doing horse riding or they are playing any sport, and also women are going to gym, women are playing sports. So sometimes doctors say
I feel I can't share anything or everything to a male friend, but I can share anything and everything to my female friend. Why is that happening?
good observation you had. Sometimes it's because that girl must have given you a lot of empathy and she must have heard you well. Talking to her, maybe you felt better.
Got it.
He may not have that much patience to listen to you as much as this girl has. Apart from gender, it's your relationship with that particular person also which makes a difference.
Does unsolved relationships affect children and families?
100% there's a disturbance. Children are like sponge, so they get disturbed more than an adult would get disturbed. Adult would know how to deal with a disturbance. A child doesn't know. If the husband and wife have a problem, please do not take it to your child. She's not your counselor. Your child is your child. So keep him or her away during such situations.
Thinking of the ex, after some years they see the photos, she goes back to that memories. So don't you think that it will affect or the family itself?
I think all relationships are unfulfilled. It is upon you to bring harmony in the relationship. So there's a lot of betrayal, there is a lot of cheating, there is a lot of inconsistency in relationship. But it is upon us to bring harmony. It is upon us to teach ourselves and our partner what is eternal love or what is eternal, happiness.
Hi everyone, welcome to Classic Connect with Uday Kiran. We all know mental health is very important. So today we have Sri Pooja Siddham Shetty, who is the founder of Calm Mind Wellness. And today I'm going to ask her about all the questions that I got from the audience, my friends and family. And also how can we control our mental stress and how can we make sure that our mental health is fit and fine. So let's welcome Sri Pooja Siddham Shetty to our podcast. Welcome ma'am.
Hi.
I know you're very busy and you have a lot of appointments. But thank you for taking your space and coming to this podcast. I hope your inputs will definitely give a lot of insight to people and the viewers and also heal many of them who are suffering silently. With this, let's start the podcast.
Sure.
Yes, ma'am. So, as you rightly said, now let's get into topic. Nowadays, in this generation, right, we see more of people having girls as friends. And in this context, I want to understand what is the psychology behind male-to-male friendship and male-to-female friendship.
Okay. What about that?
So I feel I can't share anything or everything to a male friend, but I can share anything and everything to my female friend. Why is that happening? Both are my friends, but what could be the psychology behind that?
Good observation you had. So sometimes, see, we are comfortable sharing with the same gender some things. Sometimes we're very comfortable sharing something with the other gender.
Yes.
Sometimes it's because that girl must have given you a lot of empathy and she must have heard you well. Talking to her, maybe you felt better. And this boyfriend of yours, boy as a friend of yours, he may not understand that particular aspect of you.
Got it.
He may not have that much patience to listen to you as much as this girl has. So apart from gender, instead of being gender biased also,
Yes.
apart from gender, it's your relationship with that particular person also which makes a difference.
Okay.
And back to your question.
Yeah.
So, see, we all have femininity and we all have masculinity in each other. Like also spiritually, we say Shiva and Parvati.
Correct.
So there is a feminine need or, a thought for you which you're connecting with your female friend better.
Got it. And one more thing is male to male friendship. So I also have a lot of male friends. Same as I also have a lot of my school friends, like female friends, my school friends. This happens with everyone. I observed one thing that whatever the relationship I have with my male friend, right, that might be vanished in shorter time. But with the same friendship with the girl, that lasts longer.
Okay.
Why does that happen? Is it because of this, like we compromise because of the gender, or it's something psychologically behind something happening?
It's both, as I just shared with you, that this particular friend of yours, generally we say girls are more matured than the boys. So
Is
if
it true?
being somebody who tests
Acha.
IQ, I understand each one's IQ is different.
Got it.
So sometimes it's your IQ which is matching. Sometimes the topics that you talk, she has of interest.
Got it.
And because I'm telling you from an experience, I have equal number of male as friends. I have equal number of females as friends. Females, I see them like, the women friends that I have, I feel a hot form of, I call it like water energy. It's
Got
a
it.
free flowing, like you'll, even if you're having fun with them, it's a free flow. Okay. But same thing when it comes to men friends,
Yeah.
there's a lot of systematic behaviors. Their answers are like too perfect, and I feel they're very organized with their thoughts
Got
because
it.
of the way they are working.
Got it.
Okay, but same thing you said in college.
Yes.
You had friends who were boys, and you knew it was not long standing.
Correct.
But if you make efforts, they do turn out into long standing. So sometimes that friendship was not that important at that point of time.
Got it.
So we don't make efforts.
Understand.
Sometimes, like I'll just tell you a movie I just watched recently. She says, it's okay. Anyway, you're not such a great friend of mine. You
Got
don't
it.
mean so much to me. And then when she backstabbed her, she said the same thing. She said, how could you cheat me with my boyfriend? She said, anyway, you're not a good friend of mine, right? You forgot.
Okay. Understand.
So it is always what we build.
Mm.
Yes, women are more mature than men at the same age. Now, let's say if a boy is in 10th grade,
Correct.
a 10th grade girl is equal to a degree girl because women mature faster. Even physically they mature faster, mentally also they mature faster.
So it's like understanding. They have the more understanding levels compared to the boys.
Now imagine if you had a friend who was a boy and he was 3 years elder to you. Maybe your friendship would have stood up longer.
Oh, got it.
So sometimes it's maturity, sometimes it's like you don't care so much for that particular friendship.
True.
You didn't find the need to go ahead further.
So another scenario is like I basically observed like there is a gang of 5 people or 6 people. All are best friends. But there is something that gap. So for example, A is speaking with B closely, or he is speaking for longer time. C and D will say that like now okay, you are close with B, so let it be. But all are friends. So why does this happen?
Okay, good. See, sometimes they feel that that's a way of asking you, what did you all speak?
Oh,
Sometimes.
got it.
Because if they ask you, what were you speaking? What were you doing? Nothing. But if they trigger you and say, they are more important for you than me, then you'll say, no. And then you'll end up telling the whole story.
Correct. Okay.
So that's one angle to it. Other angle is they see you going away. Like, the inside part feels ki, oh, now he's getting more closer to them. And out of jealousy also, they'll end up telling you, why are you talking to him more than us? No more, we are your friends and all.
Correct.
But third angle, maybe they're not thinking so much. They're just saying whatever they see.
Okay.
And then you feeling, sometimes you may feel bad.
Correct.
Oh, am I going more closer to them? Aren't we 3 friends together? Shouldn't we be together? Maybe I should not talk so much. So sometimes we think that other person is thinking too much about us.
Got it.
They may not even be thinking about it. It could be just a random thing someone told them
Yeah.
sometime.
Got it. And it happened with me. Once I got betrayed by one of my best friends. From that time, I stopped believing in strangers. So whoever comes, like college or job, office work and all, I just see them as, okay, the strangers. Even though they may be genuine, but still my mind only thinks about, okay, now I have learned a lesson that I got betrayed. I should be careful. But the other person might be genuine. He want to make a friendship with me. But I still stick to that particular past. So why does this happen?
See, when we were small, we were always taught, most of the people have been taught that don't share too much, don't depend too much on someone, trust your parents, trust your own siblings,
Got it.
and if you'll be betrayed, you'll be hurt, because every parent wants to save you from a betrayal. And you as this young, energetic kid who feels nobody will ever cheat me,
Yes.
I am something special. And when that happens, you feel terribly betrayed and you feel I wish I never had this friend ever in my life. Never ever I want to make a friend in my life.
Correct.
But I always tell everybody that is their issues. They had some personal problems. They couldn't keep a secret. It has nothing to do with you. And me as a psychologist or any psychologist will tell you, whatever you share with us is confidential.
Got it.
But every time you can't go to a psychologist to talk, you want to talk to your friend first.
True.
You will contact us later. You will go to your friend first. And anything you share with anybody should always be with a pinch of salt, I would always say. I'm not telling you to add masala and tell your friends anything. When you tell a friend something, always remember that if it goes out, it should not hurt you.
Okay.
So only give that much information to a friend that tomorrow if the friend tells somebody, still you don't feel the feeling of betrayal.
Got it. And I observe one pattern in some people. They say that like, I don't have any friends. But when I ask them like, is it true? I mean, why do you? Then they say that like, yeah, from my childhood, I don't have any friends, or I don't want to make any friends. But how far it is true? Because everyone needs a friend.
Yeah.
But some people say that like, I stick to the back end thing, that what happened to me, still I stay in the same thing. Don't you think that they need to come out of it?
Yeah.
But how do people should deal with this?
Yeah. So see, today what is happening, more of nuclear families are coming
Correct.
up. And they don't have friends. Forget about making friends and losing friends. They do not even have the friends in the colony, in the building. Because schools also nowadays, sports hours are very less. So
True.
they don't get to talk to their own friends. And once they're back home, they're not able to spend
Yes.
time with new friends or school friends. So encourage your children to put up in a school where there is sport,
Okay.
where there are multi-activities, and stay in a place where there are some communities, there are people of the same age, or put your kid in a sport or an activity which has similar kind of age groups. Then tomorrow after 20 years when they say I do not have friends, you can make out, okay, there was a situation, maybe they had some kind of issues. But when they
Correct.
don't even have an access to having a friend,
True.
tell me what is having a friend during your college time? Just sitting next to each other writing notes, or there were many other things?
There were many other things, like we used to speak about food, we used to speak about trips, we used to speak a lot of things, like, yeah.
So today they don't speak, they only chat about it. Because school doesn't allow you to talk to your
Yes.
friends. College doesn't allow you to sit and spend even a minute extra with your friends. The only time you have is studying, whichever
True.
college or
True.
school it is. So when they chat, is it equal to going and spending a time with your friend and eating or talking?
No.
So how are they your friends? So when someone actually tells you they don't have friends, they don't even know the meaning of friendship because they don't have friends at all.
Correct.
So what we need to do is make it real. Someone says I don't have a friend. Then you can tell them, okay, do you know people? They say, no, I know people, I work, we're just together,
True.
And then do you want someone to be your friend? For example, you have a colleague in your office.
Yes.
You may want them to become your friend, but you're scared because of the rules out there. So whatever the rules are telling you, be a friend according to that, right? Now, let's say some colleague of yours, you really trust and you like, they come and share something personal with you. You say, Arey, he's not my friend, why is he sharing with me? But instead of that, if you can think, okay, someone trusted me, has come and shared something personal with me. So have that gratitude towards God and towards yourself that someone trusted you and came to you.
Understood.
But sometimes, even that backfires.
Yes, sir.
And because you know a secret of them,
They will
they
take it as
might be a little uncomfortable. Because when people come and share a secret with you, they're in a scared kind of a position, or they're worried that, will they take a wrong action? Today, a lot of suicides are happening.
True.
So it's very important for you to be a friend. You need not share your personals, but you can always be a friend to your colleagues, to your people, to your neighbors, and allow them to share things with you. And you can always support them and help them.
Got it. So in your professional experience, you have met a lot of clients who has this friendship breakups and all. They cannot come out of that whole things and all. What was the common reason you came across people saying?
Common reason is trust factor.
Okay.
They trust you and they say something to you and it goes out. That's one of the
Okay.
thing. And sometimes, they have the similar boyfriends.
Okay.
so they come to know and they break up. Sometimes they don't match equal anymore. They don't have similar likings, they don't have similar connections, and they want to be in a group. You are not a part of that group.
Got it.
So basically, it's a kind of thing where they just grow apart.
Okay.
But the kind of friendships that you were telling me that they stop talking to each other is they might feel there's a behavior that they do not appreciate, and not they can go and tell them that, hello, it's a behavior I don't appreciate.
Then why can't they openly say them like, quitting, this is what happening?
If they say that, again there's a fight. So to avoid a fight and an
Got it.
argument,
So most of the patterns that you observed is the trust issue is the first one.
trust issues and manipulations. And today we do not know from which family background people are coming from. Sometimes they're coming from a criminal family background. Sometimes they're coming from a lower class family background. See, most of the movies also, if you see, it's a friendship between the poor and the rich.
Correct.
But something happens in between. Somebody puts a kind of thought in your head and then it's gone.
The status symbol comes into the
Status symbol
picture.
comes into the picture, but they'll not tell each other. So my suggestion even in these kind of conditions are, there is something called as an assertive communication.
Okay.
You will not go and fight with them. Right now we said, right, if we sit and talk, they might fight. But assertive communication could always mean that, something like this happened and I was very uncomfortable. Can we talk about it?
True. Another thing, during a fight with a friend, we say that it's okay, done is done. I don't want to see your face, and the other person will just say the same thing. But few weeks or months later, we start looking into the photos. Then again, our mind just recollects those old memories. So actually, at the time when we shout like I don't want to see your face, versus actually I see the old photos and I simply recollect the memories, right?
Yeah.
Actually, what is happening in that in the psychology?
See, as I told you, when there's something happens, you will either fight or you will not fight. Instead, if you can sit and talk,
Got it.
things will get cleared. But you're so angry at that point of time, you'll cut off the friendship. But when you see these photos later on, you're recalling those memories and you feel that was a small thing, I could have just sat and spoken. So what is stopping us from taking that phone and calling him and saying that I was just going through the photos? Tell a truth there that, I was seeing the photos, I was missing you. I feel whatever happened. I'm so sorry. You won't tell him that it's your mistake, but I'm sorry. But I'm sorry, we could have spoken about it. I was angry with
Got
you.
it.
Can we just talk again? Even if you don't want to talk to me, I want to tell you a sorry. Not sorry because it's my mistake or your mistake, but sorry because I did not make an effort to solve this.
Got it.
Sorry could mean many, 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 many ways.
But nowadays, I see people just blocking or deleting the number or blocking from WhatsApp or Instagram. That is creating more chaos in the opposite people, saying that even he has access to go to their house and speak, but they're still somewhere stuck between like they blocked me in WhatsApp, which means it's done, or they blocked me in Instagram, which means it's done. So previously, when our father's generation, if there was a fight, we used to go there, they'll sit and settle, then they used to calm down and come. But now, when they're blocking the WhatsApp or blocking the Instagram, our brain automatically says that, okay, you are done with them. No, but actually what is happening there? What the brain thinking all about?
See what is happening. Now if I need to connect with you, you are one click away.
Correct.
And when I want to disconnect with you, you are also still a one click away.
Correct.
So when we make friendships or we have friends in our life, we try to use the phone technology onto them.
Got it.
And tomorrow when you see them, you'll be normal. You block them on your phone. You have private accounts, you have public accounts. You have blocked them from your private accounts, but
Correct.
you have kept them on your public account. So people are all living dual lives nowadays.
Got it.
They are living a phone life, then they are living the corporate rules life.
Correct.
And every action which is coming from them is coming through these different lives.
Understood.
And sometimes you do not even know if you're jealous of your friend and you are, or if your friend is jealous with you and some actions are being taken. So my suggestion is, if some friend of yours has blocked you,
Yeah.
give them time. You be good. You be yourself. I don't think it should matter to you if your friend has blocked you. You be nice, you be yourself. They will only come and tell you why they blocked you, what was their action, What were the thoughts behind it? Why did you block me? They themselves don't know why they blocked you. But sometimes they block you to give you a hint that, I do not want you in my life. So that time also, if you can just talk to them, saying that I just saw that you blocked me, is there any reason? And that time, it may be a truth or not. Never think it's a truth, okay? Because the conscious mind is only telling you what it says.
Correct.
But the subconscious mind, what it is seeing, why is it behaving a certain way, we do not know.
True.
So consciously what your friend is telling you, okay, I blocked you because of this behavior. I blocked you because I heard you say this about me. Then the friend will say, you should have asked me, I would have told you. I don't trust you enough. I've seen you behave like this many other times.
Yes.
So I trusted the other person because I knew you were like this. And I don't have the need to continue your friendship. That's why I blocked you. Okay, I understand. You don't trust me. Go ahead with your block. That also closes the conversation. But there will be some people who will know that you have blocked them. Tell everybody that you have blocked them. They'll never come and talk to you. So this, who does? Manipulative people do that. They know they have hurt you. They know you have blocked them. They're scared that you will tell things about them outside. And then they will manipulate you more further.
Understood.
So if you look at this whole conversation we have had, first thing is we should see whether we are doing right things to people. Are we talking right things about ourselves to people? We might trust people and say so many things to them.
True.
And what kind of people are they? How are they using things against us?
Got it.
So when people come to me with all these digital issues, I'm telling you, it is so shocking. A friend stopped talking, so the girl self-harms herself. And then she puts a quotation saying that life is unfair. And you might laugh. I might laugh. Oh, life is unfair. Okay, maybe some quotation. But she's meaning something there. She's hinting something there. It's a plea for help. We don't see it as a plea for help. We feel like, oh my God, she's giving a judgment there. And there was a case which I got recently. It was a non-personal case where someone calls us and tells us that so-and-so person has attempted suicide. What is the first reaction as a human being? You'll think, I'm a psychologist, let me help. So when we reached out to them, they said, no, nothing happened. The person is at home. I said, can I meet the person? No need. So we don't even know if it has happened. So people do lie sometimes.
Got it.
So that they get attention.
Got it. So the status, right, as you mentioned, right, someone is keeping life is unfair, or they keep some quotations.
Always call them and ask what happened.
What happened? What if we don't know whether they're saying truth or not?
Doesn't matter. But that 1 minute, that one call, 8 seconds of your time or 8 minutes of the time that you give your friend, you actually might be stopping a very bad incident happening in their life.
Understood.
And I'll tell you one more very interesting thing. It's not always someone who went through something will put a message like this. Sometimes they also could have gone through something like this.
Got it.
So we don't know. Or sometimes nothing happened and they're just imagining things. So that 8-minute call of yours will save a life.
Save a life. So are there any 5 signs that we can observe in person saying that he's not still able to come out of the friendship betrayal?
See, any kind of betrayal, you'll see them being cold.
Got it.
You'll see them not being open to people. They will avoid the circumstances which they could have not avoided before.
Okay.
You invite them for a party, you invite them for a get-together. They may come, they may not come. So you'll see a change in the personality of the person. You'll see the change in their behavior. There's so many things you'll see a change.
So as a friend or a well-wisher, when I observe those signs or symptoms in the person, what is the first thing I should do?
First thing is spend time with him or her.
Okay.
Sometimes you say, what happened? They may not say.
Yes.
But I've noticed when someone tells you, how are you? They'll end up telling everything.
True.
It need not always be a question which means something. It could be a gentle question.
Okay.
How are you? What's happening in your life? And they may say a few things and then ask them more questions about it. Tell them that, but you were like this, right? You had these thoughts, right? So what is happening? Then someone might tell you, I'm going to US. 2 months later, you still see him there. You'll not go and ask him, Kya hua? Why didn't you go?
Got it.
They will immediately want to protect themselves.
Understood.
But if you tell them that, okay, you were planning to go for US, so when are you going? Even that's a positive way of getting a question.
Understood. So from your professional experience, what was the worst case that you have seen Like,
The worst case I saw till today was someone was referred to me as a client,
Okay.
and they told me that she'll be contacting me to support her business.
Okay.
I said, no, I don't do any of those kind of things. No, she has a personal problem also. Maybe she's telling business. Maybe she'll tell you the reality.
Understood.
So we thought, okay, and we heard her. She said, I'm not getting pregnant. I said, ma'am, I'm not a doctor for that. So then she said, no, ma'am, I'm very... Then what doctor are you? I said, this is what we do. She said, I'm very distressed because I'm not having kids. I said, okay, for that we can talk. Only to know later on that she has aborted 3 times and she has no interest in children and she just wanted to trap. Yeah. So she thought if she comes to the clinic, she'll meet some people around. She may get some contacts for her business.
Understood.
But she didn't realize that I don't take appointments like that.
Oh.
Each of our appointments are confidential. There'll not be anyone waiting there. It's all 15 to half an hour gap between each sessions. So she will not find anyone. So she figured that out and she left. And I did put a police complaint.
Acha.
And police told me there are many complaints on her, be careful. I said, I have not come to you to be careful. I have come to you to report that there is something like this that's happening. So just be aware. So we should always finish the circle.
Acha.
To finish the circle, I told the lady that please, God bless you. For what you came to me, it cannot be fulfilled. And that's how I've closed the chapter.
Understood. I observed people saying that whether in a romantic breakups, divorce or friendship breakups, either the person will go to heights or they completely go to dogs. Is it true?
See, first is we should stop giving ourselves so much of importance. If someone broke up with you, you are hurt. So that's where our spiritual connections, our attachment styles, how we learn, we have learned that if it was a very important relationship, then we should cry so much that, that other person understands and everybody around me understands that I'm going through so much of pain.
Understood.
And if you don't go through that much of pain and you say, okay, someone left me or someone, as you said, a friend left me, it's okay. It means that relationship was not important for you. So people will say such an important thing happened to you and you are not crying. You're so upset. Things like that. So that is when, Buddha's learnings you should remember.
Okay.
He tells you, don't get excited with too much of happiness. And don't get too depressed about the extreme sadness in your life. We are giving too much of self-importance to ourselves and others in that particular situation. So he teaches us equanimity. Well, today's world, we call it mindfulness because your corporate world also, that is what you would have heard. Be mindful of what you're speaking. Be mindful of what you're eating. Be mindful when you're sleeping. Be mindful when you're giving a talk. This is what you hear in your corporate language. So being mindful is not dwelling in the past because past is gone, not dwelling in the future because it's not come yet, and being in the present is what you have. So the present moment says, okay, this all happened and I'm sad and I'm upset. But then in present moment, there's so many other things we can think of, like CBT, cognitive behavior therapy, teaches you how to be in the present moment. Which thought? Someone left me gives you a depressive thought.
Correct.
Someone has grown, you just mentioned to me in our chat before, that someone has grown over the situationship and they don't feel they need to be in that relationship anymore.
Correct.
They have grown out of it and they've left you. Imagine living with a person who doesn't like you anymore. Feelings cannot be controlled, right?
But if one person has the feeling, another person doesn't have, or they can be manipulated with external forces, but this person is unable to leave that person, then in this scenario, what could be the situation of both the people?
That is when talking is very important. Sometimes, they have been hurt in their life before. They have a alvat antachud. They are used to having a habit that when they're getting very close to a relationship, they leave people.
True. Correct.
So why should this person cry when they feel they've not done anything wrong? That, whatever happens around us need not be because of you. It could be because of them also.
But this person tries to convince.
Yeah.
But other person doesn't listen. They have their own stand saying that you have done it.
Yeah.
So in that situation, as a psychologist, what do you suggest? Whether the person should still beg to make sure that he is correct or he should just leave?
So especially because as a psychologist, we do. We listen to the client. We do our own assessments. What kind of personality do they have? What is their past history? How have they been brought up? What is the kind of mindset they're coming up with? Okay.
Understood.
Then we treat the person. But in a common way, if you see, the common thing we would always tell someone is, don't take it to heart, right? That's what you will tell your friend. Arey, don't take it to heart. Give him some time. We will go back. We will talk again. He broke up with you now. Just wait.
Got it.
Give him some space is what I would tell. If this is a non-psychological setup, I would tell them, give them time, give them some space.
But
Let them understand why they did what they did. Because today we really do not know. People don't have time today to think what are they doing. They don't have office leaves. They don't have enough payments. They have their own challenges. And they're living alone. They're not living with the parents who are sitting and constantly asking them what's happening in your life. So they don't have a constant backing. So when there's so many things happening, the best thing is always to give time.
so you mean to say that nowadays the conversation, physical conversations are getting diminished.
Yeah.
That's the reason people behave or believe strangers. So one thing I observed is people like sharing anything to the strangers online, but they are scared or somewhat hesitant to share with their own ones.
Yeah. Good
Why-
question. Good
yeah.
question. Not just online, people are very comfortable sharing anything with strangers
Correct.
because they feel they will not judge them.
True.
So when someone judges you, what happens to you? It's okay, right?
Yes.
If your parent tells you, for example, the child wants to eat a laddu. Parent says you're putting on weight, don't eat that laddu. The child can still say, I want to eat and eat it. Parent will not take away the laddu from them. But same laddu, when an outsider gives them, they say, oh, it's okay, I'm putting on weight, I cannot eat this laddu. The outsider says, it's all in your mind, eat it. It's okay, you can lose it later. So they feel comfortable with them because people do not want to be judged. So my suggestion for the youngsters, Gen
Yes.
Z and everybody today is, it's okay to be judged. And it's okay to forgive them because they judged you. They are your own family members who care for you,
True.
right? And if at all there are family members who don't care for you and all the time is judging you, still forgive them not because they are your family. Something is hurting you. And you cannot control the other person. But if by forgiving them, you are feeling better. If by saying sorry to them that, okay, I'm sorry I was rude to you, don't mind, I'm still eating this laddu.
Correct.
Still you're being sorry about it. So there's a beautiful story.
Okay.
There was a psychiatrist who was heading a mental asylum. And then he saw that, what is this? How many people will I keep on treating and treating? And what after me? He's just doing his job. So then he came up with a song or words called I Love You, I Am Sorry, I Forgive You, and Thank You. I love you means lot of things. It means prema and have some love for you.
Yeah.
And I care for you. When you say I forgive you, it could be for what you have done,
Correct.
or it could be for something you didn't do but I felt you hurt me. Then I'm sorry because unknowingly, knowingly, I must have hurt you. And thank you. Thank you is gratitude.
Got it.
Okay?
Yes.
So he did this for every paper. Every person on that file of his, he has done it. And then finally that mental asylum closed because nobody was mad anymore. So this is the story we hear about it. So it's called, so he created a Hawaiian song. It was it happened in Hawaiian, so a Hawaiian song. And it's called I Love You, I Forgive You, I'm Sorry, and Thank You.
Oh.
So if you just see, there's a different world inside this. And if someone really hurt you enough that you don't want to say forgive you, say thank you. Okay, maybe something I learned out of this betrayal,
Correct.
right? And for example, there might be a husband who's been betrayed many times through his girlfriends. And when he gets a wife, he feels okay. She won't betray me. Then the wife betrays.
Done.
Then he will say, she's my wife, I'll forgive her, it's okay. But it will be killing him.
Yes, mentally.
If he does not forgive, if he does not say, okay, I understand, You might have done it. Why can't he listen to her? Why can't he talk to her? Why can't he just be with her?
Not it.
So all this again comes from a restricted feeling. I don't want to be hurt. I don't want to be hurt. Or I don't want to hurt. Or I don't want to spoil a relationship. I don't remember which movie was that. BV number 1 or something like that. So where he is okay betraying, but he is not okay with her betraying, right? So human beings are selfish. And human beings are born to suffer. Because that's what Buddha saw, suffering, right? But if you actually see, human beings may be born to suffer, but they are also born to come out of that suffering.
True.
This life that we have has come because you are anyway suffering and you are also going to come out of the suffering. Same life is giving you two pathways.
Got it.
So which pathway do we want to choose?
Sure. So one question comes in my mind. Do men and women process the same type of pain during a friendship breakup versus romantic breakup versus divorce?
And see, processing pain, it all depends on how you're brought up, what kind of background are you from. I also have pain, I also cry, I also feel happy when I see some movies. I remember Chak De India, they were all excited, they were winning and I was crying because I was so excited. So there was a time I would cry if I see something sad. Now I see something very happy, I get goosebumps and I cry. It's out of happiness.
Correct.
Right? I don't think in real life I would cry if I have a very happy incident. Because there is music. So there are 5 senses in a movie that is making you cry at that particular incident. Outside life, even a happy news is like, oh wow, let's have an ice cream. Or let's go and have some chat. But in real life, it's different. So in the same way, each one processes things according to their backgrounds, according to have they experienced it before. Sometimes if they have experienced it before, they're very comfortable with it. I knew this girl also will cheat me or something like that. Sometimes they create a situation, that's what is called pathology, psychopathology, where they create a situation and again a breakup happens and so it's a self-pity.
Got it.
So we don't know. Sometimes out of self-pity they're behaving that way. Sometimes because their circumstances are making them behave like that. So we should always give a benefit of doubt.
Got it.
Never think that do male behave with a certain way. See, men are brought up in a certain way. Men are brought up in a way saying that men don't cry. Women are brought up in such a way saying that women cry for everything. But there was a recent ad which the kid came home crying, fell down, came crying, and the mother says, "तो लड़का है मत रो, रोते नहीं, लड़के रोते नहीं." So finally they show a man abusing the woman and then she's crying. Then the mother-in-law says, "I wish I taught my son to cry." So when he's angry or he's upset, he wouldn't have hit his wife. It's one of the ad which we saw. So it's trying to show when there are bottled up emotions, men do not know how to respond to it. General notion that women cry, so they land up dealing with the situation better because they're done with it. They're not going to go and hit somebody. So these are all coming from our way of thinking. It's all generations. What makes you'll be very surprised. What makes you angry is also not your anger. It is suppressed anger from generations.
Got it.
I remember I was driving sometime and I told the lady driver saying that, "Oh my God, I knew it's a girl driving." My daughter said, "How can you be biased?" I said, "Why? If it's a man driving, I would have said the same thing."
But that the expression.
I said, I knew it was a man driving, I would have still given the same expression. Then she laughed. So kids are observing us. How are we responding to situations? And believe me, I really say that. I knew it was a man driving. Because it's coming from rash driving. So then we catch ourselves. Okay, did I label someone just now? It may be right and wrong. But still, didn't I label both of them? I could have said, "Oh my God, that person was driving very rash." So there also we need to keep looking at ourselves. I may have thought I'm unbiased, but still I gave a label to both of them or not.
Understand. So in this digital world, right, nowadays everyone having the Instagram, Facebook or WhatsApp accounts. They have many friends in the WhatsApp or Facebook or Instagram, but they still feel lonely. So according to you, what is the loneliness from the psychology point of view?
Okay. So loneliness is feeling alone, right? Loneliness is being alone. And loneliness is being, when you're alone, you're feeling lonely. It's very confusing.
Correct.
Right? So that means I could be alone. I was waiting for you. I was sitting here. I could be alone, but I'm not lonely. So loneliness is a very, very deep feeling where you don't feel that you're belonging anywhere. You don't have friends, so you feel very lonely. You ask most of the addicts, they will tell you, I was feeling lonely.
True.
They will never tell you I was alone, so I drank.
Correct. Yes.
So they feel they have not been cared for. They feel they have not been loved enough. Sometimes they would have got a lot of love, but it's not enough. Like there was this movie where they asked a husband and wife, do you miss your husband? She said yes. What do you miss? He doesn't, I miss him giving me flowers. I miss him telling that that I love you. He says, कितनी बार बोला मैंने? But for her, it is तब नहीं बोला जब उसको जरूरत थी. Like when she needed it, it was not told. So people feel lonely in many, 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 many ways. But I tell people, why feel lonely? You learn to love yourself, be with yourself. And when someone is around you, they're part of your life. They're not your life. So all this comes, I think, from a deep spiritual accomplishments that you can have in your life. And being fulfilled with yourself comes from, building yourself up like that. See, you are working the whole week and Saturdays you're doing a podcast. And if one Saturday you don't do a podcast, you'll not start feeling, I'm missing something. No, it's just that you didn't do a podcast on one particular day. That's all it means.
But why do this happen? So I keep on hearing from people, especially from the married couple. They say, I have very good relationship and all, but still they feel lonely. Why does this happen?
See, a woman leaves her house and goes to the husband's house. And there she's expecting the best. But he has his own life apart from taking care of her. So these are all coming from expectations.
Got it.
When you feel you want something, you should give something.
True.
And if you're giving and still you're not getting, you can always ask for it. And if you're still not getting it, see what does it in it mean that I'm expecting something from another person.
True.
So basically all these marriages are based on expectations. And once you know what are those expectations, sometimes the spouse doesn't even know what you're expecting.
Correct.
Like I'll give you a very cute example. Very cute example. Though I love movies, but I was never attracted that, guy comes and gives me flowers and oh my God, I never thought I would be that kind. I always liked the hero going and giving, so even I liked giving. So I never thought that I should receive. Till I received it from a 4-year-old boy. And he just came to me with flowers and with a cute smile on his face, wholeheartedly, and he just gave me these flowers and said, this is for you. I was so touched. I said, oh my God, I think this is how a girl feels when flowers are given to her like that. So it was something very profound. Then I didn't leave it there. I also went and collected some flowers. I went back to him and saying that these flowers are for you. He was surprised. He said, girls don't give. He was a 4-year-old boy and he said, girls don't give. I said, no, but this girl will give you. So we are also teaching the boy that not just boy giving us flowers, we also giving them something.
So one thing I observed in this generation, people coming to us and saying, you have done a good job. That doesn't give us more satisfaction than I post something on social media and I get a like or comment. So actually what is happening to our brain?
Yeah. So dopamine is one of the hormones in our brain which gives us instant gratification. So you said waiting for a friend to come and tell you, wow, congratulations, you did that. And you're like, okay, all right. But same thing if in WhatsApp or something you put and they all claim, oh, thank you so much.
Correct.
I didn't know. I myself had so many thank yous in my life. and I give them hearts, I give them, so much of instant. See, what is happening is when someone wishes you personally, you try to be modest and humble and sweet, and it's nothing. I'm not done such a great thing,
True.
But then when same thing you see someone on Instagram sending you a heart and saying, I always knew you would do it. You must have put so much of an effort
Correct.
that you receive. You're like, yeah. So basically, you're in a very chilled out and you're in a very comfortable position when these messages are coming to you.
Mm.
You are not guarded. You're not being your this ideal self. So you feel very comfortable receiving these appreciations,
True.
right? But in my point of view, one way if you see it's good,
Mm.
but in another way if you see, people are getting more dopamine effect through a
Correct.
chat than rather someone coming and sitting with you and appreciating you.
Chat.
And this is unreal because someone congratulated, someone else also congratulated. But the one who actually came to you, spoke to you, that is more real. So if you want to get that kind of serotonin is another
Yes.
hormone which comes out of few actions. Like you go for a walk, you'll get. You do a good deed, you will get. So it's a long standing.
Correct.
Dopamine is like a chocolate which you eat, you're satisfied. But serotonin is it's like your best friend who stays with you for a longer time. So get this, it's okay.
Yeah.
But give a specific time. Like I spend half an hour on social media in a day. I post. I don't have any notifications. I see whenever I see it, I respond back.
True. True.
And you should have a time. I think time is a beautiful element for social media. If you can just decide.
But that's where our mind and heart actually gives you different indications that, for example, I see one feed, I just scroll, I get addicted. अरे इसके नीचे क्या है देखेंगे, because I just
So
scroll.
don't see.
But my heart says don't see, but my mind says there is something else that is there. But how do we, from a psychology point of view, what do you say these type of behaviors?
When I have half an hour time on social media, I will decide what to do with my half an hour time.
Oh,
So when you know newsfeed is not useful for you, don't see the newsfeed.
no, but my mind says, okay, I scrolled.
Because that's how these apps are designed. No? It's
Correct.
designed for you to get curious.
True.
But if you decide that I will do what I want to do, why would you scroll?
True. But that, yeah. So how do we come out of the particular thing?
First is decide that only half an hour or 1 hour or 15 minutes I'm going to be on social media. So this half an hour I'm going to follow my friends.
Yes.
Then next time when you go onto social media, you're like, okay, today now I'm just going to see the comments.
Yeah.
See, that's why I think everybody should have a digital marketer. So that, they manage your social media
true.
and you are not a digital addict. And they cannot be an addict. You know why? Because that's their profession.
Got it.
So mental health is my profession. It's not my hobby. I don't like to listen to, as a human being, I don't like to listen to people's problems. But as a profession, yes, I like to listen to people's problem because I know I can bring them out of it.
Got it.
But I meet someone in a party, I don't think I can change their life.
True.
But the way I behave may change their life. The way I respond to them might change their life.
True.
If I think it's only my profession and only when a client comes to me I can change their life, only if they sit with me for an hour, we do not know. So every moment we are changing people's lives around us.
Got
That
it.
one smile from you is
True.
changing my life.
So this is another interesting topic which I want to bring in. This is when someone are unable to let go their past. Recently, I heard a case from my near one saying that he had a marriage, and the marriage got happened with all the rituals, with people and all. Suddenly, what happened was there was no proper connection what they were feeling, both the male and female. So here, this woman who was brought up in such a way that their parents used to hesitate to speak to her, or the parents used to scold her for anything. Like for example, if she speaks with her grandfather, also like how much time you will spend with them, and also the way she brought up was different. This boy was brought up in a very good instance, like very very wealthy family, education, entire family is educated, they know what to do and all. But this gap, right? She was coming from a different background. He was coming from different background. Now both the thoughts are different. So these scenarios, right? As a psychologist, what do you suggest they both need to do first?
First, they both need to understand they're from a different background.
Correct.
And when you have some common goals, okay, they want to lead a particular life. You know, then based on that, we sit with them, we work out on all their past incompletions, and then we look at what are their future plans, what are they wanting together, what do they like about each other. So basically, we increase all the strengths, and then we see if all the weaknesses, if they're not that important, still working with them on it.
Wow. So there is a saying, right? Time heals everything, or time removes all the baggages.
Yeah.
Is it a myth or reality?
Okay. How much time? 10 years? 20 years? 30 years? Or 1 year? Like last week, I was very upset about something. And within 10 minutes, I was all right. Again, I was upset about something. So these upsets are coming from your past. I am supposed to be hurt when something like this happens. So I'm hurt. But am I really hurt? No, I'm not.
No.
So then I give it up.
But how do we set this time? Like, is it like, how do I say that?
I think people never actually heal as per the time they think it's taking. I remember one lady who told me she went through divorce and it took her 9 years to come out into the public. And what she was worried 9 years back, the same thing happened after 9 years. Someone asked her, what happened? She said, I didn't want to hear this word, what happened, but it took me 9 years. I wish I had answered them what happened that time. I won't have wasted my 9 years. So if you look at it, time heals. But if we can heal it now, why not? Why should we wait? It's not a movie that you have to wait for. It's not the director or the scriptwriter's decision that it should take 9 years or 10 years.
So do men and women process same unsolved relationships after marriage as well?
See, if they feel the relationship is important, they will. If they feel, why should I go through this? I don't want to go through this. They will not process.
Okay.
So that is when marriage counts. When people come to me for marriage counseling, I tell them I'm not counseling you.
Okay.
I'm listening to you. And I'm listening to you in such a way that others haven't listened to you so far. And sometimes listening to them also, they get clarity on why their behavior was in a certain way. You know, taking things for granted.
True.
Like, I'll give you a notion. Now, for example, someone is married. The boy sees the mother in their wife. So they expect that, wife also needs to behave in a certain way. Sometimes they don't want the spouse to behave like the mother. Correct. So there also they get irritated. You're always nagging me like my mother. She's like, where am I nagging you? Because she would have seen in her personal life that mother is involved in the father's life. Here the boy would have seen the mother is not involved in the father's life. So these are all very interconnected things. And during counseling, during therapy, lot of unwinding happens.
So when it comes to the past, people who can't come from their past, right? Especially you see like a woman who has a past with someone, and due to some external pressures, she got married to a person. Now, do you think that she is still connected to that past and not getting intimacy with the husband? So what type of psychological patterns they would have been running in their mind?
You're asking me questions like hum dil de chuke sanam kind of thing.
True.
Yeah. But at least in that movie, they show that she expresses to him.
Correct.
And she doesn't have any physical relationship with him. So talking helps. But when someone goes through a situation like this, whatever circumstances, if she's comfortable with the physical intimacy, she will be comfortable.
True.
Physical intimacy has nothing to do with that person, right? And some people are very comfortable, but some people are not, because for them it's like, yes, I've accepted him as my husband, but I still love that person. I cannot be physically intimate with another person.
Correct.
So these are again coming from idealistic way of thinking.
Okay.
But if someone is comfortable with their husband in a relationship and still likes that other person also, there is no way you can change anything there. Unless the girl feels I'm thinking something wrong, or I'm doing something wrong here, I'm having someone in my mind, and then I'm in relationship with someone else. So these are all, they're all very mixed way of thing. So what we tell here is, we all have an ideal self.
True.
We feel if we are an ideal wife, this is the way to be.
Mm.
So that is where, first we need to understand her, what is she going through?
Okay.
What does she want? If she wants this relationship, how she can come out of that? Like we do clinical hypnotherapy, where we can actually help them erase their past. But why would you want to erase someone's past? First, we would like to hold a completion there. We would want her to talk to him. Sometimes I would tell the client, based on their insight level, how are they capable enough to deal with the situation? Does talking to the previous person help? Just talking once and completing it there. Then so that she can be fully here.
Got it.
Or if she's wanting to end this relationship here,
Correct.
is that man ready to accept her or not?
That
We don't know.
we don't-
So that's why everything happens in the form of a proper confidential session where we are unveiling every aspect of it. Sometimes talking heals. Sometimes we need to do clinical hypnotherapy for them, which helps them to release their past.
Okay.
Sometimes they want to go back to their past. Then how do you deal with it? What are the aspects of it? Now let us say somebody comes to us with an abuse and they say, my husband hits me all the time. Or, the husband comes and tells the wife hits her all the time. So what is the first thing that we would tell them? Leave the husband or leave the wife? We would first sit and understand why. Because tomorrow when they leave each other, is their life going to be better outside? We don't know. We don't know anything. We are not part of their life at all. So we sit there, we are there with them, we understand them, we understand their needs. If this man who has abused, will he be abusing again? What was the reason for him abusing? If he says he got angry, is he ready for a psychiatric treatment? Because we don't know. So our work is always to create harmony back. As a therapist, as a psychologist, or as a psychiatrist, or as a parent, we always want to build harmony back. So our end intent is they go back happy.
Okay.
But sometimes they don't. Still we need to treat ourselves, saying that, okay, we did our best for them. If they need us, we are always there. And making them independent. There are some clients who continuously want sessions with us because they've got used to us. And even the psychologist or the psychiatrist or the doctor is very happy because they have few permanent clients. So we want them to become independent. So slowly we stop sending them reminder of the session when we know their time to leave. It's like, when the bird is ready to fly, we push the bird.
But as a doctor, you need to listen to the patient's needs and what they are suffering. So one thing I want to ask you, was there any situation you counseled both wife and husband, and one of them, that they are cheating? I mean, whatever they are saying is lies, and still you pretend to listen, okay, and all. In the situation, what you do? Was there any case?
We never have such situations. If they are cheating, if they are lying, they are cheating, they are lying. They come back to us in 1 or 2 sessions, or third session, they'll end up telling us the truth.
Okay.
And they also tell us that why they are doing that, why are they feeling like that, what is the need they feel like that. And even if they're planning to leave that behavior, they will tell. Because see, at the end of the day, I'm not a lawyer. So I will not bring it out. But if things are ready to be healed, I may ask him, would you like to tell your wife sometime? Would you be telling your wife sometime? What is stopping you from telling her? Or why do you think you're telling her? What is happening in your mind? Sometimes they may just stop doing what they're doing. And not every time. I'm telling you, the human mind is the most beautiful thing God gave us, but it is that dirty also.
True.
So if you go tell your wife sometime, she may not accept you and it may break a relationship. So sometimes to protect a relationship, they lie. So they will come and convince us in many other ways. So that's where my expertise as a legal family counselor or as a family dispute resolution, what I have studied, I try to bring that legal aspect of it. If you really think you can't stop your affairs, don't you think you should be talking to your wife about it?
Got it.
Because if she comes to know through someone else, it will be bad. So putting them, giving them another side of the story without making them wrong.
Got it. So many of the times, right, the couple compare their partner to their past.
Past partner?
Past partner.
Okay.
So according to you, what do you suggest? Is it a good thing or a bad thing? Because everyone has their own way of living, their own way of expectations. But most of the time, people compare their current partner with the past partner.
Okay.
Yeah.
So sometimes they even compare to an actor
True.
because we are idealistic people. So when someone compares someone to their previous partner, instead of feeling bad, you can say that, okay, you like that about them, very nice, good. Oh, that past partner of yours bought you flowers. Oh, the past partner of yours gave a smile in such a situation. Oh, I didn't give a certain smile. Okay. Accept it. They are never comparing because they want to put you down. They are only comparing because they are maybe a kind of an open person. Maybe they talk openly. Maybe they are the kind of people who like to share everything.
Understood.
Maybe the boy or the girl is not the kind if you're being compared to. Right?
True.
So always remember one thing. When people tell you something, it doesn't mean it's true. It could be their own insecurities or they're bored in this relationship. They're trying to remind you of something. Sometimes it means nothing. They're just telling because they remembered. But the person who's telling also should know that they could be hurting that other person. So they should also be mindful about what they're talking. People just love to just throw whatever that comes out of the mouth and say, oh my God, I was just joking. Or I was just like that sharing. Same, when something happens to us like that, we should be aware of our feelings, our thoughts.
Okay.
If someone is talking something like this also, they should be aware that, you have a responsibility of not hurting the person
Got it.
who is in such an important relationship. That past partner did not marry you, right? This new partner married you. He gave you a respect. He gave you a respect of your wife or as a husband and brought you into the society as the only wife and the only husband that they have. So,
But that's where the trade-off comes, right? Like, I heard a situation where this is a realistic situation where I heard.
you shared someone asked you to ask
Yes.
me a question.
Yes. So one of the important person has said me to ask this question. That person is going into a phase where he got married a year back. Now suddenly what happened? That woman has a bad past. She has expressed to him before the marriage itself. He accepted. He said, "Yes, I accept you, but I hope you are not with that guy anymore, or it's completely closed." She said yes. Done. Now they got married. Everyone was happy. So it was just 4th month. She went back to her home saying that I'll need to see my parents and all. But later she didn't come back. So her father called and said, you need to come to home. And when he went, I don't know whether it is a blame or is a truth. She said, he is important.
Okay.
So then what happened? There was an argument. They went to doctor. So they did some tests. Doctor said, you are okay. I need not to give any medicines. Now again, this woman and their family again started playing. I don't know whether it's a game or not. They started playing that you have already spoke with the doctor and you have already pre-planned things. So this guy took the woman parents to the doctor. He said yes. Okay, if you want, I can do test again. But this girl, he said, okay, instead of doing test alone to me, why can't you test her also? She refused. Now he did the test, same output came. Now in front of them, the output is there. Now that's where she started blaming. Then he recollected that, okay, she said me something before marriage. So now he's thinking that she might be liking him, the past partner. Now, what could be this family psychology?
Okay. More than that, because as you said, the divorce is still going on.
Yeah.
So we should not talk about it. But we can always give a solution to this. Obviously, he needs to take therapy and counseling. He needs, because whether it's true or not, he's devastated with this whole situation. And if at all he's important, it's a medical condition.
True.
If he's not, then it's not a medical condition, it's a psychological condition. Now let us assume both are wrong. She may be using this as an excuse, and maybe she doesn't want any kind of relationship. She may not be wanting the first guy, but she may not be wanting a relationship at all. So we don't know. But because there's a legal case going on, it's better we not talk about it. And the way to solve this issue is she knows if she goes and tells him anything, again, that he's no more her husband now. So she cannot confide in him. So when you go for a counseling, all this gets settled. After that, if she wants to go ahead with not being with him anymore, or she wants to be with him, and all that will get resolved. All her inhibitions will get resolved.
So
After that, when you make a decision, it'll be a comfortable decision.
So I have two questions that's triggering my mind. One is it true that people who are married second time in the sense divorcing the first wife or first husband and marrying the second time, are leading happy life?
I have seen many people who are leading a happy life.
So what could be the psychology behind that of living happy
People
life?
have changed, right? People have accepted few things. Maybe in first marriage, they were very delicate and fragile and all. Second marriage, they made few decisions. Okay, I will be in a certain way in this relationship.
Yeah, so that's where even the most of the stats where I saw, right, it says people who are married second time, right, they're living very happy life.
Not everybody, but at
Yes,
least
maximum people are. So this triggers me another question. So this is something raw question I just want to ask. So many people say that, or we are listening in movies or elders saying, if you can just tell the mentality of a woman who lost virginity before marriage versus who lost virginity after marriage, so how their mentality will be. So I just want to make sure that every audience will understand this.
Yeah. Okay. Now going back to this question, virginity both have lost.
Correct.
If a boy has lost, a woman also has lost.
Okay.
Just that in the medical condition, it doesn't show for a boy. In a medical condition for a lady, it shows.
Okay.
But a woman can lose virginity for various reasons.
True.
Now, she could be a sportswoman.
True.
So they'll end up losing virginity, not because of sex itself.
Agreed.
So virginity is also lost when they're doing horse riding or they are playing any sport and also. So when people tell nowadays for marriage, we want a virginity test, it cannot be proved because women are going to gym, women are playing sports. Some women do not even have that particular string which is called, which actually breaks in virginity.
True.
So sometimes doctor says she doesn't even have for it to break. Right? So you are asking me a question, what is the mindset before and after?
Yeah,
right?
because
So I'll tell you something. Sex and food and sleep, these are three basic needs. Also self-actualization and many other needs are there, but we are talking in this particular framework. So how did you feel after eating food, if you are asking? That's the same feeling they had after sex. So if you tell what is the mindset, it is only a different kind of experience, I can say. They will not have, a girl before marriage, how she felt. Marriage is just something done on paper. It is something which you feel at heart, okay, I'm married, or there is something pious about being married, or, we both are going to be next 7 years together, 7 lives together. So all these are what we feel.
Yes.
But Having sex with someone first time and having sex with someone else first time, and in between a marriage coming, there's no difference.
But
Whether it's a girl or a boy.
But they say, right? I mean, there is a saying in the society that women who lost virginity before marriage will not care anyone.
That's what it's a saying written by somebody who
True,
went through it.
true. And there is,
And-
yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, it's okay.
So there is another saying I heard in a movie where the person says, I mean, couple go for a counseling, saying that like we are facing some difficulties in the marriage and all. So this guy expressed that she lost virginity before
Yeah.
marriage, and
it's
she expressed with me. Now, how do you feel having a coffee at a Nilofer cafe? So, and how do you have a coffee at a roadside tea stall? There is a difference. When you like Nilofer cafe, you tend to go there, or you tend to see that particular flavor in here also. Right? So that's how she also lost virginity there. So she won that. But this man says, I also have a lot of responsibilities. Job is also primary part, not only sex, family, and have to take care of the well-being of the people and all. So in this scenario, the wife is saying that I need sex, but but this guy is saying that along with that I have a lot of responsibilities to take care. So as a psychologist, counselor, or therapist, how do you, or what do you suggest these type of people in this situation?
First thing is, wife also should be enough busy so that, when she feels husband is not giving her enough time,
True.
is she having enough time for herself to spend?
Hmm.
Busy doesn't mean doing something.
True.
Busy means doing something meaningful, which is meaningful for her.
Hmm.
So then she will stop expecting that the husband also has to be a certain way. And for the husband, he needs to understand that this is what she needs, this is what she wants, and he needs to create time for her. See, everything is idealistic.
True.
And it is not that, okay, you do this, you do this.
Hmm.
How much close are you coming and how much is she understanding?
Hmm.
If he's taken 2 steps forward, is she taking 2 steps forward?
True.
So it's all about the game of, like you say, badminton. Only if the other person plays correctly, the other person also gets to play correctly, right? So if girl is expecting something from him, he is also expecting her to understand. So sex is not just about a 5-minute or a 20-minute job.
True.
It is about all the compassion. It is all about the trust. It's all about so many other things that are involved.
So does unsolved relationships affect children and families? If yes, psychologically what will be?
What do you mean by unsolved?
So I take an example. Wife has a past relationship, but due to some force, as I said, she got married to a person. Now she's still emotionally connected to that. Like for example, when they, after some years, they see the photos, she goes back to that memories, saying that, and she stays in that memories for a day or two. That's common for everyone, what I guess. Now thinking of him, the ex, and now that girl suddenly gets pregnant. So don't you think that it will affect the psychology of the newborn baby or the family itself?
100% if
100%.
affects. But any disturbance affects. It's not just that
Got it.
disturbance. Like we know some movies also you have seen where the girl leaves the child to the husband and says, I don't love you anymore.
Well, True.
I like my previous person. So even the previous person is not that I don't want to be. I just want to be alone. So we see many situations. Then Hi Nana also, she says how disturbed she used to feel when both the parents used to fight and she used to go under the table and sit. So 100% there's a disturbance. Children are like sponge. So they get disturbed more than an adult would get disturbed. Adult would know how to deal with a disturbance. A child doesn't know. So that is when I tell people, first point is never fight between a child. Never confuse the child. If the husband and wife have a problem, please do not take it to your child. She's not your counselor. Okay? And if at all the child, the parents are going and telling things to the child should actually go and tell this to some adult and say that, parents are fighting. I am unable to take it. Because children don't know how to do that. They only know how to get very disturbed. And they only know how to get disturbed. They don't know anything else. Because they have not been taught how to deal with such situations or resilience. And when they are the parents themselves. So the first tip for the child is to be away from such situation. Some fight is going on. Please move away from it. And also the parents, that they are not your counselors. Your child is your child. You don't have to teach them any reality of life right now. So keep him or her away during such situations.
Okay.
And if there is a need for a fight, please have those fights in a very committed way to resolve it.
Understood.
Not to blame each other. Have a conversation so that you can come out of it. And unfulfilled relationships, I think all relationships are unfulfilled. But it is upon you to bring harmony in the relationship. Yes, it's upon the other person also. But when I'm saying upon you, it also means upon the other person.
Got it.
Some people tell we're trying, we're doing our best, but the other person is a certain way. But look at what are the gaps that you have in the relationship. See what is the gap in the relationship. If someone has, like for example, I know a lot of spouses who travel. Even the women travel a lot. And the husband says, I trusted you and sent you there. Right? Trusted in what? Right? The same thing for the woman, for the man. He goes for business trips. She'll say, I trusted you. So this trust is something that's coming in a conversation, or is it coming in the way of being? When you see something is there in a gap in a relationship, there are hundreds of people who will try to come into the relationship. There are hundreds of people who will come to break the relationships. Like some of the corporate sessions which I have with people, they tell that they love their boyfriend, but they like the team leader more. And the team leader says, see, I'm more settled.
Okay.
Your boyfriend is still in settling mode.
Okay.
So, but whom do you love? Whom do you want to go ahead with? Whom do you want to be in relationship with? And if you like your team leader, and if you think that's a bigger game to play or in life to play, then you tell the boyfriend that, I like the boss right now. And he's also proposed me. I need some time to think. And he'll be like, what do you mean? You should say no. Yeah, but I'm also thinking, so let me just... But it doesn't work like that. Because if she goes back to the boyfriend, he will say, you thought also. How could you even think like that?
Correct.
But that is how human mind is. The more you give it, the more it wants. And today's world, people have struggled so much. Then the previous generations, they want it all. They want the best. Right? So that is the reason time, we spoke about time heals, right? So give it time. And every girl wants to just go and tell off her boyfriend everything that she heard. Give it time. You also think that what are you talking? Are you going to hurt the other person? Is it important for the other person to know every single thing?
True.
Right? He or she may not be that mature to deal with it.
True.
Right? So there's a lot of betrayal, there is a lot of cheating, there is a lot of inconsistency in relationship. But it is upon us to bring harmony. It is upon us to teach ourselves and our partner what is eternal love or what is eternal, happiness.
So, I'll give you two cases. I mean, two couples. So,
Two couples or one couple?
Sorry. One couple, two couples, two different cases.
Okay.
So, one couple, they had a fight. The wife goes to her house, says that, okay, now I'm giving you time. So, because you said time heals everything, she says,
Not always.
yeah, not always.
You should know what time you're
Yeah,
giving.
she says, okay, I'm giving you 3 months of time. So, in this 3 months of time, if you are sending your parents, I'll come to your house. And this guy tries. So, he says that, okay, my parents are convinced, but let's have a meeting so that we tell to everyone, like your parents and my parents, and let's have a formal separation. So we stay separately and all. Now this girl is avoiding that particular situation, but still she says 3 months, and you send your parents, I'll come to your house. This guy says, no, oh, it's fine. Arrange a meeting. We both tell to each of the parents, and we will live separately. This is one case. Second case is, there are couple. The wife went to her hometown, not coming back. It's been more than 7-8 months. It's like they both are speaking in a very minimal way. When we ask that guy, okay, why are you not going there and calling your wife back? He says, I'm happy now. Because I'm happy now. If I go there, I feel, I get a sense of feeling that she will not even talk with me.
Yeah.
So this is
Why make the effort?
correct. This is one case, and this is another case. So in both the cases, what is the psychology of the woman
Again, women only.
and men, both? Women and both men, or of the couples in both situations.
Man feels in this situation, I'm happy. Why should I go ahead and
Correct.
complicate it? But the woman is waiting there saying that, okay, whatever I want, if it happens, then I will come back and
This is the second case.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you actually look at both the cases, both of them want something and they're giving time to think.
Correct.
Instead, go to a psychologist, go to a coach, go to a psychiatrist, or meet somebody who's into arbitration and resolve things and then give time.
Okay.
So what people are doing is they are not resolving it and then giving time. They're just giving time just like that, so that they get mentally free.
Understood.
So what is happening here is mentally there is so much of load because of that stressful conversations. You're telling about 2 situations. Before that situation, how many things have happened? So many things have happened which they want to end the stress there.
Then why do in the first case, why does the woman keep some time? See, my only concern, why do she is keeping some time?
Because that's her way of dealing with it. She feels if she gives time, she can escape for 3 months. She need not have that conversation.
But after that, after that she blocks him and says, I've given you enough time, done and dusted now. Chalo, we'll say it good. So this woman, in this case, this guy is saying, I am happy because if I go there, something happens. She'll not even speak what she's speaking with me right now. And the same happens with the woman as well. So that's where I was thinking, like, what is the psychology of these both?
They are avoiding, that's it. They're avoiding and they're happy in avoidance. Because trying to resolve it is more stressful for them right now. So they are avoiding it.
Got it. So
and also giving time to fulfill what they want.
So it's like, there is a saying in Telugu, karra virakurdu, pamu chavakurdu.
So it's like that.
Coming to the another part of it. So as a psychologist, what do you suggest the couple should do in order to not to turn one vulnerability into a judgment?
Yeah. So one thing we should understand is everything is not constant. Okay, change is only constant antarada. So things keep changing, thoughts keep changing, feelings keep changing.
Got it.
So always look at what is it that you want in a relationship and you be that. So what you're expecting from your spouse, you be that. Change can only happen when the other person sees some change in you. Sometimes there may be nothing for you to change, but observing that the other person is expecting you to change, and is there a scope for me to change? See, anyway, things are changing, life is changing, life is moving. But sometimes there are situations where there are people who are psychotic, there are people who are having psychological disorders, and all these physical abuses that are happening right now in the society, which was happening before, people never spoke about it, but today people are speaking about it. Women are unsafe. Sometimes men are also unsafe in those relationships.
Correct.
They are in a dilemma between mother and, the boy, what he does, he doesn't talk to the mother saying that you were wrong. He says the wife, you're wrong. So wife listens to it so many times that, husband is not making an effort with the mother, making more efforts only with the wife to change all the time. So all these dynamics, family dynamics, when the husband starts listening, things will change. Why should my mother change? Why should my wife change? Why should my father change? There's so many dynamics that are there. So if these things are changing, then the person is also changing, right?
Got it.
Not all the time just thinking I should change or the other person has to change. And then harmony can be brought in when, okay, for example, the son is not making an effort. Always the mother-in-law and the daughter-in-law are fighting. Then leave them. Leave it to them. Do not involve and correct. Be an outsider in that relationship. Tell them, you have any problems, by the time I come back home, you have to resolve it. Otherwise, I'm leaving both of you. Or I am, or letting the mother and the wife know that I'm very distressed because of this. So many things. I'm just giving you one example,
Got it.
but there's
Yes,
so many
yes.
things which can help you in creating positive change around you.
Sure. So, in a relationship, what are the 5 signs you would suggest people to look into where if their marriage relationship is going to end or is going to be, I'll keep it in a nutshell, it's going in a good way or bad way?
Okay.
As a psychologist.
Are you having positive experiences with each other?
Okay.
Are you having positive talks with each other?
Okay.
Is your conflict reducing? Like in case there's a problem, is it going into major time schedules or is it reducing? Or is your communication in a more fruitful way? How is the other person responding to you every single time there's a fight?
Understood.
Is it a fight or is it an argument or is it a discussion? If it was a fight, is it becoming a conversation? So maturity is what you're talking. Is it a matured conversations? Are both of you are on the same line, or are you coming to a same line when you're talking on taking few decisions? If one partner is screaming, is the other partner also screaming? So if the partner is quiet and giving you an answer, are you also being quiet? If you're the angry type, are you also coming down and talking instead of fighting? So it's always a give and take. And if you want to get harmony in your relationship, I think you should also be harmonious in your relationship.
Got it. So I have got some few questions from few of my friends.
Sure.
So they are saying that we are living together, but it feels like we are just managing life together. That seems like a warning sign.
Actually, it's both, but it's not a warning sign.
Okay.
Because living in together also, for example, 2 friends meet. They can't be running and jumping all the time. There will be silent spaces.
Correct.
They have their own life. We should always remember the other person and yourself is an individual first,
Okay.
and then a couple.
Got it.
So I think that question itself, what he or she has
Yeah.
shared, I think it's a good relationship unless he has some specific multiple strings attached to that.
Got it. Another question. If a husband discovers that his wife is still emotionally affected to something from her past, what is the healthiest way to respond?
Accepting it, saying that what do you want me to do about it? Do you want to, how do you feel about it? Is there something that you want to share with me?
Okay.
Will you feel comfortable? Will you feel happy?
Okay.
Will you feel relieved if you talk to me about it?
Got it. One last question. People often say just move on, but that rarely works. What kind of conversation actually helps for someone healed?
To heal.
Yes.
Yeah. So first thing is when you talk about it in the past tense, it gives you big newer memories that it happened. See, in the mind what it happens, it's showing you a movie.
Correct.
But when you talk, you'll say, okay, I'll give you an example. Me and my friend used to bunk and go for movies, we had so much fun. I don't think if we had told everyone and gone, maybe it wouldn't have been fun. So I am creating the past memory as a past memory and I'm sharing it with you. So it becomes more real that it was in the past.
Understood.
Otherwise, it's sitting in your head as a present moment.
True,
And then it's giving you sadness because you can't see that friend with you right now.
exactly.